So maintenance and troubleshooting for this thing, really all of it's going to be related to the solvent, whether it's too saturated or too much is evaporated out and you just need to top it off. The way this thing works is you have your solvent sitting on the left side, it's absorbing all the wax. As it absorbs the wax, it'll start to heat up and drip over to the right-hand side. The right-hand side has a boiler where it will boil the solvent off. It'll evaporate up and it'll get hit by the condensing coils where it'll drop back down into the left-hand chamber, and it leaves all of the wax on the right-hand side. It works pretty well and it's sealed pretty well, but some amount of solvent is going to escape from the system, and so you will have to top it up time to time. I want to say we probably top ours off maybe every 2 to 3 weeks. You can use the little max fill tab as a pretty good gauge for this. So it is on the left-hand side of the right chamber. So there's a little tab that sticks out, and you want to just come in every now and then and fill back up to that tab. The way you do that is by grabbing your solvent, putting it on the right-hand side. You can just rest it on here. You'll take your drum wrench and you'll unscrew the lid. And then you're going to use the siphon that came with the system. And you'll just pump the solvent down into the chamber and let it fill back up. And eventually the next thing you're going to see is what's called the HTC Over Limit Alarm. And it means typically one of two things. One is that your solvent is low and the boiler is having trouble with the readings because there's not enough solvent compared to what it's used to. The second reason you'll see this is your solvent is so evaporated with wax that the wax is retaining heat and it's throwing off that boiler as it's trying to heat up to temperature, and all of a sudden it's heating at a different rate than it expects. And so at that point, it'll flip the heaters off. You'll get your alarm. You can come back and turn it back on. You'll see it occasionally, but as it gets more and more saturated, it's going to overshoot that temperature, very quickly. So there's a certain point when you can't have this thing on for more than a couple of hours before it'll flip that alarm. So in that situation, that's where you want to go ahead and fully flush the system. So you'll use the drains in the back. Again, there's a Mark IV support article for that. You'll flush the system of solvent and wax, and then you'll close off your drains and refill it with fresh solvent. On the topic of solvent, there's a couple of different manufacturers that you can get this stuff from. The place that we really like to work with is TMC Industries, because they have a solvent reclaiming system where I think it's if you come up with like 20 gallons or so of solvent, they will come and pick it up, and they'll even give you a discount on new solvent whenever you get it, because they take that and they recycle it to sell it again.